The Great Purge of Mandalore is the defining trauma of the modern Mandalorian. It's the event that scattered the clans, shattered their home, and turned their creed into a desperate whisper in the dark corners of the galaxy. The official story, as pieced together from various accounts, is that Bo-Katan Kryze, attempting to unify her people against the Empire, was forced into a surrender with Moff Gideon. Gideon, in a move of pure treachery, took the Darksaber from her and then unleashed a devastating orbital bombardment anyway. This was the night of 1,000 tears, but this explanation, while tragic, feels incomplete. The first mystery is one of scale and logistics. Mandalore, even in its fractured state, was a warrior world. Its people were arguably the most formidable non-force sensitive fighters in the galaxy. How did the Empire achieve such total domination with seemingly no organized, planet-wide resistance capable of inflicting significant damage in return? The canon tells us the planet's surface was crystallized by fusion bombs, a detail that suggests a level of destruction beyond a simple orbital bombardment. This implies a specific, targeted campaign of annihilation, not just subjugation. This leads to the interpretation. The Purge was not just a military conquest. It was a genocide rooted in meticulous intelligence. The Empire must have had inside help or a deep understanding of Mandalorian infrastructure and cultural divisions to succeed so completely. They likely didn't just bomb cities. They targeted leadership, armories, cultural centers, and the planet's fragile ecosystem. The glass surface of Mandalore isn't just a scar of war, it's a clue. It suggests the Empire knew exactly how to break the planet, not just its people. And here lies our first mini cliffhanger. Was Gideon acting alone on Palpatine's orders, or was there another element at play? A betrayal not from a Moff, but from within Mandalore itself, that provided the Empire the keys to their total destruction. In the aftermath of the Purge, a new power emerged from the shadows, the Armorer. As the spiritual and practical leader of the Children of the Watch, she has become one of the most influential figures in the reconstruction of Mandalorian identity. She is the keeper of the way, the forger of Beskar, and the voice that guides Din Djarin's path. Yet, for all her importance, we know absolutely nothing about her. Who is she? Where did she come from? And what is the origin of her distinct, horned helmet, a design seen nowhere else? The known fact is this. The Armorer adheres to and enforces a version of the Mandalorian creed that is far stricter than the one practiced by mainstream Mandalorians like Bo-Katan Kryze. Her sect, the Children of the Watch, are seen by others as religious zealots, fundamentalists clinging to an ancient past. Her knowledge of Mandalorian lore is immense, from the mythic properties of the living waters to the forging techniques of their ancestors. This leads to a compelling interpretation. The Armorer is not just a survivor, she is a preservationist of a specific, perhaps controversial, piece of Mandalorian history. Her isolation and the strict dogma of her covert suggest a deliberate separation from the political turmoil that plagued Mandalore for centuries. Some fans have speculated, based on her wisdom and quiet authority, that she could be connected to old, powerful bloodlines. A popular theory suggests she may even be a lost member of House Kryze, a sister or relative to Bo-Katan who chose a different path. This would create a stunning dynamic. Two members of the same family, one representing Mandalore's political future, the other its spiritual soul, locked in an ideological battle for the heart of their people. This brings us to our second mini cliffhanger. Is the Armorer's rigid adherence to the creed a genuine belief, or is it a calculated strategy? Is she rebuilding Mandalorian culture as it was, or is she reshaping it into something new, something forged in her own image, for a purpose we have yet to understand? The Darksaber, a weapon as iconic as it is mysterious. Forged by Tara Vizsla, the first and only Mandalorian Jedi, it was kept in the Jedi Temple after his death, only to be stolen back by his descendants, House Vizsla. In the modern era, it has become the ultimate symbol of leadership. Whoever wields it rules Mandalore. We've seen it passed from Vizsla to Maul, to Sabine Wren, to Bo-Katan, to Moff Gideon, and finally to Din Djarin. But there are massive gaps in its history. The blade was created over 1,000 years before the Clone Wars. Between its theft from the Jedi Temple and its reappearance in the hands of Vizsla, centuries passed. What happened during that time? House Vizsla, a clan known for its martial prowess and opposition to pacifism, held this incredible symbol of power. Did they use it to rule? Did they challenge the Jedi with it? The canonical record is almost entirely silent on the Darksaber's journey through the Old Republic era. The interpretation of this silence is that the Darksaber's power is as much a curse as it is a gift. The fact that Mandalore wasn't perpetually unified under House Vizsla during these lost centuries suggests that simply holding the saber was never enough. It has been won, lost, and surrendered multiple times. Its history is one of conflict, not stable rule. This suggests a deeper truth. The saber doesn't grant power, it attracts it. It is a magnet for challengers, a target for enemies, and its appearance often precedes a period of civil strife, not unity. Din Djarin's struggle to master the blade is not just a personal failing, it is a reflection of the weapon's own chaotic legacy. Which leads to our next cliffhanger. The Darksaber was created by a Mandalorian who was also a Jedi, two factions that have been historical enemies. Is the saber's true purpose not to unify Mandalorians, but to one day bridge the gap between two ancient orders? Is its ultimate destiny in the hands of someone who can finally reconcile both sides of its identity? Before we continue our canonical investigation, we must take a detour into the realm of legends. In the old continuity, before the Darksaber's story was fully fleshed out, the symbol of Mandalorian leadership was something else entirely. A sacred helmet, the Mask of Mandalore. This mask was passed down from one Mandalore, the sole ruler of the people, to the next. Its most famous owner was Mandalore the Ultimate, who led his people in a devastating war against the Republic thousands of years before the films. In this Legends timeline, Mandalore the Ultimate was defeated in single combat by the Jedi Knight Revan. But Revan didn't just kill the Mandalorian leader, he took the mask. He understood that the mask was the soul of the people, their rallying point. Without it, the clans would fracture and turn on one another. Revan hid the mask on the forgotten world of Rekiad, and for years the Mandalorians were crippled, unable to rise again under a single leader. This act, hiding a piece of armor, did more to defeat the Mandalorians than any single battle. This story powerfully illustrates that for Mandalorians, symbols are everything and their loss can mean devastation. While this story is no longer canon, its themes echo powerfully in the current lore, especially when considering the weight placed upon the Darksaber and the mystery of who, truly, has the right to lead. One of the most profound unsolved mysteries is not about a person or an event, but an idea. Why are there such radical differences in what it means to be a Mandalorian? On one side, you have the Children of the Watch, for whom the creed, especially the law against removing one's helmet, is absolute. On the other, you have figures like Bo-Katan, Sabine Wren, and even Jango Fett confirmed in canon as a true Mandalorian foundling who integrated with the galaxy and saw the helmet as battle armor, not a permanent second skin. The fact is, both traditions are authentically Mandalorian. Bo-Katan refers to the Watch as a cult of religious zealots who broke away from mainstream society to live on the moon of Concordia. This implies that the way of the Watch is not the original path, but a splinter ideology. Yet the Watch sees themselves as keepers of the true, ancient faith. So who is right? Was the ancient Mandalorian way one of perpetual concealment, later abandoned by a more modern society? Or was it a more pragmatic warrior culture, later radicalized by a fundamentalist sect? The interpretation must be that Mandalorian identity is not, and has never been, a monolith. The deep schisms we see are the result of centuries of internal conflict and philosophical debate. The divide between the martial traditionalists, the Watch, and the political modernizers, House Kryze, is the central conflict of their culture. The Purge did not create this division, it merely exacerbated it. The Children of the Watch likely survived the Purge precisely because they were already isolated and hidden. Their strict code became a survival mechanism, proving its worth in the darkest of times and thus solidifying their belief in its righteousness. This leaves us with a critical, unresolved question. If Din Djarin is a product of the Watch and Bo-Katan is the heir to the modern political tradition, neither can truly unite all Mandalorians without compromising their core beliefs. Can these two opposing philosophies ever be reconciled? Or is Mandalore doomed to repeat its cycle of civil war, forever fighting over the true meaning of the creed? As we piece together these fragments, a larger picture of Mandalore emerges. Their identity is forged not just in Beskar, but in a crucible of loss and secrecy. The unsolved mysteries are not footnotes to their history, they are the very text. The Great Purge remains a ghost because the full truth of who betrayed whom, of how complete the destruction truly was is likely too terrible for the survivors to confront. The armorer remains an enigma because in a culture where armor is identity, her anonymity grants her an almost mythical authority, allowing her to represent an idea rather than a person. The Darksaber's history is lost to time because its legacy is one of perpetual conflict, a story no single victor has ever been able to write. And the creed itself is fractured because Mandalorians have always been at war, not just with the Jedi or the Republic, but with themselves. Even their origins are a mystery. In the Legends continuity, the original Mandalorians were a distinct species, the Taung. In canon, they are a creed, a collection of foundlings from any race, united by an idea. This shift is critical. It transforms them from a race into a religion, and like any religion, it is subject to schism, interpretation, and fundamentalism. The unsolved mysteries of Mandalore are, therefore, features, not bugs. A people whose history is constantly being erased, rewritten, and fought over cannot have a single, unified truth. Their strength, and their greatest weakness, is that being a Mandalorian is a choice of vow, and as long as there is more than one way to interpret that vow, the mysteries will remain, fueling the conflicts and the stories that will define their future. The future of Mandalore rests on a knife's edge. To reclaim their homeworld, they must first reclaim their history. But sifting through the ashes of the past may reveal uncomfortable truths. The heroes they lionize may have been flawed. The villains they despise may have had sympathizers, and the sacred truths they hold dear may be little more than one interpretation among many. The greatest unsolved mystery, then, is not what happened to Mandalore, but what it will choose to become. Will it be a united kingdom, a fundamentalist sect, or a scattered people forever wandering the stars? The galaxy watches, waiting for the answer.